morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys had a great holiday. I hope you were able to spend time with your close friends and family, your loved ones. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. To my current subscribers, thank you guys so much for continuing to come back and watch my videos and comment and like. It is very, very important that if you do like them, that you click that like button, because it shows YouTube that people actually like my content. It tells YouTube, hey, this girl, some people like her, so maybe other people will like her too. All right, I'd like to talk a little bit more about Jack D in this video. Now, Jack D has been very quiet about all of this. He hasn't really been as cooperative as some people feel that he should be either. Do you think that that's strange though? Or do you feel that that's to be expected given the circumstances that he was still, I would think, in love with her? We don't know. What do you think? Jack D's aunt has recently spoken out on his behalf, saying that he's just devastated. Brooke Miller has said that her nephew, Jack DUCOEUR, is currently surrounded by family and friends as he grieves Kaylee's murder. And this is from the article that the New York Post put out. And let me go back a second to how this article begins, because I had to do a double take. It says, the man once considered a person of interest in the murder of his ex-girlfriend and 3 other University of Idaho students is crushed. He, quote, lost the love of his life, unquote. And he is devastated that some consider him a suspect in the slaughter, a family member told the Post. Now, 2 things stand out to me about this. One is just something that I feel is poor taste, and the other is questionable, to say the least. It starts out saying that the man once considered a person of interest in the murder of his ex-girlfriend, once considered a suspect, once considered a person of interest, as in he's not considered a person of interest anymore, right? Well, I find that quite debatable. Then the use of the word slaughter. Yes, they actually said slaughter. I just think that that is very distasteful of the New York Post, but hey, you know, anything to get views, right? The juicier, the better. Brooke Miller goes on to say, quote, he not only lost the love of his life and what we all thought, and he probably thought as well, would be his future wife. You know, get married, have kids, and all that, unquote. But also, half of America, quote, thinks he could be responsible for the heinous killings, unquote. The article goes on to say how they were together for 5 years. And being that they're 21 and 22 years old, that means that they've been together since they were just 16 and 17 years old. And that Kaylee broke up with him just 3 weeks prior to the killing. This is something that I questioned in my 2 Jacks video that I did last week. Did the families even really know about this breakup? Either Jack's family or Kaylee's family? Because it doesn't really seem like they did, or maybe they hadn't accepted it. Maybe Jack hadn't accepted it. I don't know, but I do question this in my 2 Jacks video. If you haven't seen that video, check it out because it's got a lot in it. Now, I'm not sure how Jack would think that he wouldn't be considered a person of interest, because let's just lay out the facts here. He is a significant other. I'm going to ask this question. When looking for a suspect or a person of interest in a homicide, who usually is looked at first? Significant others, close family and friends, right? Exes, people who were in the immediate vicinity, the last people to see the victim. Jack fits a few of those. Jack was a significant other. He is now an ex, a very, very recent ex. He may or may not have been at the corner club the night of and been one of the last people to see her. She reached out to him very shortly before the murders. He is a person of interest, right? And the final nail in the coffin for me that keeps him a person of interest is the fact that he lived literally less than 1 minute walking distance away from the victims. And his only alibi comes from his roommates / friends who say that he was asleep upstairs. That's it. That is the only alibi we have been told And let's just lay out the facts that we can gather directly from this brief article in the New York Post, coming straight from his aunt's mouth. Jack and Kaylee were together for 5 years. That's a pretty long time, especially for younger kids, right? Jack thought Kaylee was going to be his wife and mother of his children. Kaylee made plans to go on a trip without Jack and move to Texas without Jack. Kaylee dumps Jack, and then 3 weeks later, Kaylee is brutally stabbed to death along with 3 of her roommates. Or to use this specific article's verbiage, slaughtered. The only 2 people who spoke about Kaylee and Jack getting married and having children that I've heard so far is Christy Gonsalves, who seems to adore Jack, and Brooke Miller, Jack's aunt. Is this because they knew this, or is this because Jack told them this? You know, like, yeah, we broke up, but we were going to be getting back together. We were talking about me moving to Texas and we were going to get married and have kids. Like, was this something that came out of Kaylee's mouth recently in the last 3 weeks before her death? Or is this coming from Jack after Kaylee's death? Nevertheless, Jack doesn't understand at all why he may be considered a possible person of interest or a suspect. Okay, well, now we have this new photo that has surfaced, and I'm trying to find the original so that I can mark it up myself where I want markings to be, and I can't find it. We have kind of suspected that Jack D may have been at the corner club that night, mainly because of a jacket that Maddie was wearing. This black jacket that appears to look very similar to a jacket that Jack D is wearing in this photo. I'm just going to go ahead and debunk that right now. I'm going to show you these photos and why I don't think that it's his jacket real quick. If you look at this photo of him wearing the alleged jacket that Maddie is wearing in the surveillance videos, you can see this white wording on the side. It says Pine or something. I don't know if it's the logo, whatever. It has this white wording on it. Now, if you look at Maddie's jacket, there is no white wording where it should be if it were the same jacket. In this photo, you can see both Kaylee and Maddie talking to a male in a hat with a mustache and these white shoes. He appears to look very similar to Jack DUCOEUR, and the shoes appear to be similar as well. What do you think? Do you think that this male could be Jack DUCOEUR? If we look at another area of the surveillance photo, we see what looks to be hoodie guy, minus the hoodie, and this other guy sitting in a corner, which some people have said looks like Adam Lauda. What do you think? I think he looks like Adam Lauda. I have been wrong before. For instance, with Bethany, I could swore that was her answering the door, but it has been proven that it is not her. There are some people who have even thought that this man in the middle of hoodie guy and possibly Adam Lauda could be law enforcement. Crime Circus put this side by side together and asked his viewers what they think. And I'm going to ask you guys the same. Could this be the same person? If so, that would be very interesting, to say the least. Now, I'm going to take this a step further, and I'm going to ask the question that isn't being asked. We're being shown a photo taken from surveillance footage, and we are questioning whether or not Jack DUCOEUR is in this photo. But what does it matter? What does it matter if Jack DUCOEUR is in this photo? Does it mean anything? Does it change anything? Asking myself that same question, my answer would be that the timestamp of that surveillance video capture, or whatever it is 1:32 a.m. That was shortly before the girls showed up on the food truck live stream. Like, extremely shortly before, minutes. And when they left with hoodie guy. I don't know where Jack D went after the corner club. I don't know if he left at the same time. It makes me think it's a little more strange that he didn't answer those phone calls that were made to him an hour later. It is possible that he got a ride home and just passed out, and that's why he didn't answer the calls. I have said the same thing about Dylan and Bethany. It is not a rock solid alibi by any means, but it makes sense to me. After a night of drinking, going home, passing out, you're not hearing anything. Like, you are out. But if this person in the photo is Jack DUCOEUR, and Kaylee spoke to him very shortly before the murders took place, and then he doesn't answer her or Maddie's phone calls, it's just a little bit sus, right? And if the person in this photo is Jack DUCOEUR, then that means that he was one of the last people to see and speak to Kaylee and Maddie as well. we have the surveillance about telling Adam everything. Maddie, what did you say to Adam? Like, I told Adam everything. We don't know what everything is. Everything could be nothing. Adam and Jack were roommates, though. Did Jack wait around for Adam to get off work and they catch a ride back home together? What time would Adam have gotten off work? 2:30? 3:30? I think the bar closed at about 2:30 a.m. So Adam, if he walked home, would have gotten home by 3, if not sooner. Did they both arrive home together? Did they both leave at closing 2:30 a.m.? I mean, the time frame's very close here. And if Jack and Adam left together, or Jack and Adam spoke after Kaylee, Maddie, and Hoodie Guy left, did Adam tell Jack what Maddie told him? I mean, we can speculate on this all day until our heads literally spin the fuck off our necks and out into oblivion, but we may never know for sure. Another person who has spoken to the public is the driver of the vehicle that gave the girls a ride home that night. And I think it's very important to note that he said that the girls did not talk about anything in that car but their food and how excited they were to eat it. You know those drunken munchies are a beast. When you're done drinking and you're hungry and you just want to like mow down whatever food is laid out in front of you. So they were super excited to eat what they had ordered at the food truck, and that's all they talked about. The ride from the food truck to their house was no more than a 5-minute trip, so it's not like they could have said much anyway. But they didn't mention that they had just ditched somebody. They weren't like laughing, like, ah ha ha, we ditched so-and-so. They weren't talking about Adam or what was said. They weren't talking about a Jack. They weren't talking about anybody. They were talking about their food, and nothing seemed weird at all, according to this driver. Certainly, you would think that if they were concerned about anything, they would have said to the rideshare driver, hey, this dude is creeping us out. Thank you so much for picking us up. They would have maybe been looking out the window over their shoulder to see if anyone's following them. And even if they didn't say anything to him, you would think that they would have been talking to each other about it. Like, thank God we fucking ditched so-and-so. He was creeping me out. So again, we're left with nothing. Just what would appear to be a normal Saturday night in a college town. 2 girls going out to the bars, then ordering food, getting a ride home. I mean, what do you think about this? I'm currently working on a completely different case, the Shanquella Robinson case, and I have been very, very deep into that. But I do want to keep you guys posted on what I think of new developments in regards to the Idaho case. I've been looking over the new body cam footage, the videos that Plunder has obtained, and one that Truth and Transparency has obtained from police. And I'm watching them, I'm going through them, I'm editing them down to the parts that I'd like to talk about. But again, like I said, I'm working on a completely different case that we really need to talk about. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you agree with anything in this video and like anything in this video. If you learn anything from this video, please again, go ahead and hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. Talk to you guys on the next one.